Y'all, I got the car back together, but you remember my air pipe is not connected, and driving it back home I had the MagnaFlows installed. Driving it back home I heard the exhaust leaking. It was that air pipe exhaust coming up out of the air pipe. So I stood on top of the engine. I had my foot right there on the intake manifold and the other foot over here on the tire, and I was just sawing away. I just had a hacksaw blade, and man, that took me a long time and a lot of effort to get that little bit through. So I'm gonna try to get my Dremel and do that, but first I'm gonna get the vacuum cleaner and put on it. Make sure that none of that metal goes up into the intake. Alright y'all, this is how I'm doing it. Got one foot up on the intake and just crouching down and sawing. Got my hacksaw here and just going back and forth on it. I needed to take a break. Got the other foot standing on the tire. So, alright, that's about how you do it. Okay y'all, this is what it looks like. I'm gonna try to go and get the get some kind of rubber hose or something that I can use to mount this thing. Alright, later. Alright guys, I was able to find some heater hose that was the right diameter. Got me a couple of hose clamps. So now I'm going to try to fit this in that bung, tighten it up, line it up, and then slide the hose over it. Try to wipe me some high temperature gasket maker over it from Permatex. Maybe that's going to seal it, and I'll still be able to slide that because it's kind of hard sliding that hose around. But that's the goal. You'll see in a little bit. I'll try and tell you how long it takes me to get it on there. Alright, and tighten it up too. Alright. Alright guys, definitely it took me about 45 minutes to bolt that on because the threads are really tight, and obviously if they made it a loose thread then you could get an exhaust leak and it would sound bad. So the threads are really tight. I could only turn the wrench I could go, I think, 1/8 of a turn each time, then flip the wrench over to go another 1/8. So I got a 1/4 turn for every 2 strokes of the wrench, which took a long time and it was really hard to turn. I suggest that if you have that heater core out, check the fit on this once you get the headers on, and if it doesn't fit, go ahead and cut it then, because you can use a cutoff tool then probably, and get it lined up. You'll be able to butter it up with the RTV, the gasket maker. I can only get on a little bit here on the back side. I don't want to get it in the middle where it could block the flow. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and slide it on. I'll show them. Alright, that's the finished product. 2 hose clamps on there. You can see it's a little bump right, well, maybe you can't, but it's a bump there where there's a little air gap between the valve cover there and no air gap there. It would have never lined up if I hadn't cut it. So now I cut it. It's not that much of a gap between there, but with that hose on there like that, inshallah it'll keep it from leaking. That's it. Like I said, try to do this before you put all of the heater box and all them AC lines and radiator lines and fuel lines back in the way. Do that while you have it, while you're installing the headers. Get all that fitted up while the headers are all exposed. Alright. And that concludes when you're... Okay guys, I've taken the jacks out, but I'll just walk you through this. It's reverse of jacking it up. You come to the front or you go wherever you have it up the highest, and you put the jack under one side, under the passenger side, then you go put the jack under the driver's side, lift it up off the jacks, remove the jacks, and then let the car down a little bit at the time on the passenger side, then you let it down an equal amount on the driver's side. Then you come back to the passenger side, let it down a little bit. Go back to the driver's side, let it down a little bit until you get the entire car to the floor. But you only go an increment at a time, a couple of inches at a time on each side, or else you'll rack the car. It'll twist so bad. So instead of twisting it, just let down each side a little bit at a time, and that's how you let it down. After you do the front, or whichever end is higher, the front or the rear, then go and you get the tires on the ground, then go to the back and or to the front, wherever, and do the other end. And you do it same passenger side a little bit, driver side a little bit, passenger side a little bit, driver side a little bit, and that's it.